Hey, it's the announcement guy. I'm with my good friend Dr. Michelle here. We're in the African Down Wildlife Sanctuary. Big event coming up here. Graduation for our ministerial students and our practitioners.
No. It's the Teal Sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
This Friday night, practitioners and ministers.
Okay, great. These people go to school?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising. Here's what's coming up.
Spring classes are coming up, and now is the best time to fill up your spiritual well and experience a deeper sense of your true self. Limiting beliefs can keep us on the treadmill of limitation. There is so much ready to spring forth into your life, and it all starts with you. Beyond Limits with Michelle Medrano starts Saturday, May 21st. Whether it's focus or receptivity you seek, there are many benefits to finding a practice that works for you. Dive in and let's practice with spirit in this Spiritual Practices class with Josh Reeves starting Thursday, May 26th. Learn more about these classes and other spring classes coming up at milehighchurch.org.
The founder of our teachings, Ernest Holmes, says, "As water purifies itself by flowing, so our inner realization of the flow of life through us purifies the stagnant pool of our fears and doubts. So surrender your doubts and fears and live from this flow by joining us for our upcoming 4-week Adventure and Prosperity Sunday series, Infinite Flow, starting May 22nd. This series dives into the pure essence of who we truly are and supports us to step into the good that God is as and through us."
So don't forget this Friday night, big night here at the Teal Sanctuary.
Great music, inspirational. Dr. Roger speaking. Do you remember when you graduated?
I was with Ernest Holmes. I do remember. Yeah.
Ancient times.
Have a great week.
Ancient times, wow. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning at Mile High Church. We're going to sing a song called One Big Family, because that's what we are. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are loved, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah. Come on. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody in me. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody in me. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are loved, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound and say, hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are loved, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound and say, hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Tom Litch, Jennifer Burnett, Mile High Band, Mile High Choir. So good to see them this morning. Welcome to Mile High Church. Wonderful to see each and every one of you today. You know, my hope, our hope for each and every one of you, for all of us, each and every week is that we get a glimpse of that infinite love that we believe is in the universe, and to know that that infinite love is something that each of us can receive, that can uplift our lives, that can help us overcome any challenge that may be around us. And I think it's particularly important to remember that, especially in light of this terrible shooting that we heard about or saw in Buffalo, New York yesterday, and all the challenges that we see, to remember that there is a deep love that even in difficult times that can inspire us and remind us of the truth of who we are as human beings. So I'm so glad that we can come together each week in person and online to celebrate that truth. We're so glad that you're here. We have a wonderful service in store for you today. We're doing something brand new. Our interfaith ministry, led by Reverend Zamira Jezworska, we're going to be doing an interfaith honoring instead of our reading today. So looking forward to that. So looking forward to hearing from our incredible choir, their last performance of the year. And you've worked so hard and been so tenacious in keeping up through this pandemic, and so grateful for their leader, Stacey Landis. And they look gorgeous today, don't they? We are a good-looking church. And there'll be a message in there somewhere, too. So we're so glad you're here. If you're here for the first time, we love to recite our vision and mission each week. It's coming on the screen. If you want to say it along with me, our vision: oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission: to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. So taking ourselves, our loved ones, and the whole world in our heart today, let us move into this experience of song and of prayer, knowing that highest good, that highest love, expressing itself in, through, and as us as one world, one people, right here, right now.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
What a joy it is to come together this morning in prayer, to celebrate that divine essence that we see all around us, in that beautiful moon as it set over the Colorado Rockies this morning, all the green coming forth in spring. I see the hand of God everywhere. And how amazing that we get to celebrate that within each other. All those unique qualities that makes each and every one of us so very special. So important that we are here at this time. And so how wonderful to come together to celebrate all of that, to celebrate that creative intelligence that moves in, through, and around us in every single moment, in every circumstance, in every situation. There is nowhere that God is not. And so this morning I speak a word and know peace. Peace on our planet, peace in our world, peace for the people of Ukraine, peace and comfort for those affected by the shootings in Buffalo, and peace for each and every one of us in our own lives. I absolutely know that as we embody and extend peace, it contributes to the peace all over this planet. And I'm so grateful to come together as a community, grateful for all those who serve Mile High Church, grateful for Reverend Josh and his profound message this morning as it unlocks and opens perspectives in our life. And how wonderful to know that all over this planet people come together in whatever form they choose, whether it be in a church or an ashram or a temple or by a forest stream, to celebrate that there is good and that God is good. And so I know that as I release these words to that beautiful alchemy of love and law, that all is well because all is God. And together we say, and so it is.
This morning we are honoring Vesak, which is also known as Buddha Day, and is a festival and celebration honoring the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and death. Siddhartha Gautama was born in 623 BC in the gardens of Lumbini in India. And today we honor the Buddha's teachings with a traditional ceremony of bathing the Buddha, where Taylor and Nancy Owen, congregants who both practice Buddhism, will pour water over the Buddha, symbolizing the washing away of anger, of greed, and ignorance, and anything that stands in the way of our embodiment of our own inner compassion and loving nature. As Taylor and Nancy pour the water, we will participate along with them in a sacred ritual. And I will show you the hand movements now. And as they begin to pour the water, we will do these movements together as Jennifer and Tom sing a loving kindness chant. And so here are the movements. First, we will bring our hands together in the prayer mudra at our heart, and we will bow to the divine nature within each one of us. And then moving our hands up and around as if we are gathering showers of blessings from the Buddha and bringing them into our heart. We pause for a moment and breathe and connect with the loving kindness and compassion within our own hearts. And then we send them out, this loving and compassionate energy, we send it out to the whole world. We will repeat this 3 times.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful
beings be happy. May all beings be filled with peace. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. Amen.
I can see a new horizon on a brand new day. I can see the sun rising, showing me the way. And everything will be alright. Everything will be okay. 'Cause I can see a new horizon on a brand new day.
Thank you, Jennifer Burnett and our Mile High Choir. Stacy, thank you so much for all that you've done for us all these years, but in particular these last two. She's an amazing leader, isn't she? Thank you for all of your time and service and for lifting up our hearts, choir. Thank you, Mile High Band. You got one applause, fellas. We love you guys. We love you guys. So our spring classes begin tomorrow. There's classes that start this week on prosperity, on prayer, on self-mastery, and on the magic of the soul. Doesn't that sound enticing? Dr. Michelle's teaching a Beyond Limits class that's a love donation only. It's online. It's on Saturday mornings. That's going to be incredible. And then the following week, Dr. Patty and I wrote a class called Spiritual Practices, and I get to teach it this time starting May 26th. It's all about exploring our faith as a religion of spiritual practices and how to build a spiritual practice that works for you. So I'm looking forward to teaching that class. So the Buddha is said to have shared the following parable. There once was a man who was making his way through the jungle, and he encountered a man-eating tiger. So he began to run, and the tiger began chasing after him, and he found himself on the precipice of a cliff. And there was a vine, and he began climbing down, and about halfway down, he looked down, and what did he see? Another man-eating tiger. He realized, I'm going to be hanging out here for a while. He then looked up, and there were 2 mice, each eating away at the vine. He then saw that out of the vine, there was a strawberry, the most beautiful strawberry he had ever seen. How sweet it tasted. That's the end of the story. What's the moral? Strawberries are in season. Life is filled with disappointments. Anybody else? Enjoy the moment? Yeah. There is something beautifully transcendent in that story, that no matter the challenge we may be faced with in our lives, the divine mind can provide us with an opportunity for transcendence, the ability of the human spirit to rise above any difficulty. Now, we're a very positive-minded folk here, and so I like that the Buddha can give us some harsh rationality. And I love positivity, but I've made my mark in the realm of sarcasm here or there in my life. I have the honor of putting together our daily pearls, which you can sign up for online. It's a daily piece of inspiration, and every once in a while I let some sarcasm slip in there, but I try to pull those out. And so I have a couple daily pearl rejects for you today that I do think speak to our message. So the first comes from an incredible Buddhist teacher by the name of Shunryu Suzuki, and he shares, life is like stepping onto a boat which is about to sail out to sea and sink. See you, everybody. Does it resonate? Yeah. Here's another one that speaks to my heart a little bit more from the great Kurt Vonnegut. We have to continually be jumping off cliffs and developing our wings on the way down. Doesn't life feel that way sometimes? Making our way out of no way. Yet knowing that each of us has been given this intuition of how to be, of what to do, of how to show up. The great Joseph Campbell tells the story of once watching one of those old Disney nature documentaries. Do you remember those? They were very much the first of their kind in terms of documenting and videoing nature and animals. And he speaks to watching one of these films where Mama Sea Turtle is on the shore and planting her eggs. And just a few days later, all these little green tanks come out. And he comments on the wonder of Mother Nature, because every one of these little turtles knows just what to do to head towards the water. None get lost. They're not going every which way. Each intuitively knows to move towards that water. And because it's dangerous, the birds are coming down and getting some of them. And they're moving through there. And Campbell's amazed. Are they afraid of the big waves? No, not at all. And just when they get through the waves, the fish start at them. And he comments, life is tough. Life can be really tough sometimes. Don't you feel like that little sea turtle sometimes, just trying to make your way to the water? It's amazing to me not to try and sugarcoat the challenges of life, but when we realize that they sometimes can just as much be a catalyst for becoming our highest and best self. That sometimes that very lock, that very wall, that very thing you keep coming up against can become the very key to your awakening, to your developing, and to your moving forward. There's something about a lock, there's something about a challenge that helps us to get clear and articulate what it is that we want, that can help us bring forth the best of who we are, and can build and cultivate that faith that there is a divine mind operating in, through, and around us in our life's adventures. I remember a very important lock is the key moment that I had when I was in 6th grade. And I made the decision to run for student council president. Looking back, I still don't know why I did it. My mom was kind of a political junkie, so I guess, and it was an election year, it was 1992, and so I guess that's what made me want to do it. And, the big news during that campaign was Vice President Dan Quayle going into a elementary school in New Jersey, and the kids were having a spelling bee, and one of the kids was asked to spell potato, and he said P-O-T-A-T-O, and Dan Quayle corrected him and said, you forgot the E on the end, which isn't true. It isn't supposed to be there, and of course, the media totally understood the mistake and let it go immediately. No, they did not. They let him have it. For a very long time, and I was just as guilty because I decided to use Dan Quayle as the character for my campaign. And so I had all these posters made up with Dan Quayle saying things like "Voot for Josh," all misspelled. And it was a powerful learning experience because apparently 6th graders don't generally have their finger on the pulse of American politics. And so they had thought that I just didn't know how to spell. First rule of politics, never underestimate the intelligence of your constituents, but don't overestimate it either. And so it's election day, and all the kids get to make a speech. And I'm preparing to give mine, and I've got another great political savvy trick. One of the great lines of that time was George H. Bush saying, "Read my lips, no new taxes." And he had to raise taxes, which some people argue is why he lost the election that year. But I had all these wax lips made up that said, "Vote for Josh." It was a great idea, I thought. And I got up there to speak. I'd never given a speech before, and it went over really, really well. I was, called to this sense of leadership, of wanting to serve others. People laughed at my jokes. There was an energy in the room that was a little bit electric, and I'm probably over-exaggerating it, but it was powerful for me, and I left that stage walking on air and knowing I have this thing. And a few hours later, I was informed that I did not win the election. It was close, but I had lost, and I took it very stoically. And I rode my bike home, and I got into my room, and I laid down in the bed, and I just started bawling. I just started crying. I didn't even know where it came from. I just started crying so much, and it was one of those cries you didn't want other people to hear, so, those? And my mom heard me, and she came into my room, and it's kind of a tender memory for me today because I don't think I have ever felt as loved by my mom as I did in that moment as she was comforting me. And it took me years to realize, but I realized that those tears were the result of coming up against a lock, but ultimately the fact that had locked had opened up in me a knowledge of what I was here to do in my life, about something that I loved, this call to be of service to others. This, even though I can be a nervous wreck even right now speaking to you, this kind of joy of getting to speak to others and maybe a little bit of liking being in the spotlight a little bit. This idea of creating that sense of community in a space of connection. So this lock, this door, this wall that I hit, unlocked in me an experience of my true talents and passion. And that's why I entitled the message today, "The Lock is the Key." Abraham Maslow said, "A musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write, if he is to be ultimately at peace with himself. What one can be, they must be. This need we may call self-actualization. This tendency might be phrased as the desire to become more and more what one is, to become everything that one is capable of becoming." What is that for you? Is it an art? Whatever it may be in the art of your life, supporting your family and loved ones, how you show up in the world. It's amazing, not every challenge, but how a challenge can actually be created by the very drive within us to be the best of what we are. An interesting way to think about the locks that we run up against, that they're there to unlock the best of what is within us. And so in exploring this topic of our challenges, I invite us to think about what might be challenging us in our lives. And to ask ourselves, not how is this challenge providing a negative experience for me, but how is it calling forth the best that is within me? An interesting thing about a lock is it stops us. It forces us to pause. And I think the most important thing running up against a lock can do is it can help us clarify what it is that we want in our lives. Too often we run into a challenge and we begin to find our identity in it. We start to set up camp in it. Before we know it, we're all challenged all the time. We eat breakfast with our challenge. We take it to work with us. We eat dinner with it. We go to bed with it. We wake up with it on our mind in the morning. We become kind of obsessed, and then what happens is we begin to reflect the challenge, and it shows up in us as complexes, as neuroses, as personality flaws. And we're all of a sudden trying to fix ourselves because we're blaming ourselves for the challenge happening in the first place, when if we just would pause and say that this challenge isn't a reflection of who I am, this challenge is helping me to clarify what I want and to question myself about why I don't have it. And then that something powerful can be unlocked, and we can begin to make the simple choices to choose not what we don't want any longer, but to step more powerfully into what we do. Viktor Frankl, the great psychologist, tells the story of having a man come and see him for therapy who had been for a long time in the U.S. military and a U.S. diplomat. And the gentleman's struggling, this is during the Vietnam era, with some American foreign policy, and he just doesn't like his job. And before seeing Frankl, he had spent 5 years in psychotherapy with the psychotherapist telling him that clearly you have a major father issue that you have projected upon the military, and in order to be happy in your job, you're going to have to deal with your dad issues and with your authority issues so that you can be satisfied in your job. Frankl's psychology that he called logotherapy was a little different. It was honoring of complexes and neuroses, but it was really built around the idea that life is about discovering and experiencing meaning and fulfillment. And so Frankl just asked him a simple question. If you weren't doing this job, what would you do? And the man said, I'd probably be a teacher. He says, why don't you do just that? And the man quit his job. And he took his job as a teacher. And he would regularly keep in touch with Frankl to let him know how happy he was. It's a simple story, but I think a profound one that tells us to stop grappling and fighting and having our identity in the midst of what we don't want, and start doing the daily work as hard as it is to live how you do want, to really be who you are. I have a little saying in my life when there's a challenge going on or I see something bad on the news, and it goes like this: don't let what shakes you make you. Don't let what shakes you make you. It's so easy to see a horrible event on the news. It's so easy to have a conflict with someone you love. It's so easy to be annoyed by someone's behavior and then to live down to the negative experience that gives you. And we have to acknowledge our feelings. We should always acknowledge our experience. But what are we going to make of ourselves? How are we going to respond? Are we going to live down to the challenge? Or are we going to say, this challenge is going to awaken the best in me to bring into my life? Because locks, they make us pause to think about what it is that we really want, and sometimes to appreciate what we had before the challenge occurs. But they also are designed to call forth the best of ourselves, to help us know that this challenge doesn't possess me, but I possess it. And I'm going to walk right through it by demonstrating the best of myself, the best of who I am. You remember Alice in Wonderland? We have Alice fans here. My daughter was here for Halloween. I almost dragged her out here, but And whichever Alice story you know of, at some point she chases a little white rabbit down the rabbit hole, and she finds herself in this kind of wonderland purgatory, right? This kind of waiting room. There were doors, this is from Carol's version, there were doors all around the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever to get out again. And have you ever found that in your life? You know you're in this waiting period. You know something new is upcoming, but it seems like every opportunity is locked to you. Locked door after locked door after locked door. Why is that? And sometimes I wonder in a spiritual sense as if all of these doors are simply there to tell us of all the people who've walked through before in their own way and their own time. But there's a reason you can't go through those doors. It's because it's not your door. Again, to quote Joseph Campbell, who says, "Where there is a way or path, it is someone else's path. You are not on your own path. If you follow someone else's way, you are not going to realize your potential." Campbell would speak of Arthurian legends, the Knights of the Round Table, and he would say that when they would go on an adventure, each knight would find the place in the forest where it was most dark and no one had entered before. I'm not asking us to do that today, but to simply recognize that we are here to make our own way. And there's something so powerful that happens when we bring forth the best of ourselves. It's like the universe springs into action. Mother Nature intuited in us, and exterior all around us begins to give us support along the way. Alice finds a golden key on a table, symbolizing her uniqueness, symbolizing her true self. And she starts walking around and she's trying to see if it fits in any of the locks, and it doesn't. And finally, she sees this little red curtain, and she goes down and she opens it up. And there's a keyhole there, and she sticks it in, and it fits. And it opens. It's another powerful lesson about the life of spiritual adventure, is that there's rarely a door that says, "Josh, come in this way." We have to look sometimes for those tiniest of openings, those little slivers of opportunities to start a conversation, to take a little risk, to be a little bold, to try something new, to be a little bit more transparent and authentic. These little opportunities become openings that open doors for us in our lives. The key unlocks the door, but there's one problem. Alice isn't big enough to fit in. And this is where that magical support begins to come in, because she sees a little bottle on the table. And what's it say? "Drink me." So she drinks it, and she shrinks all the way down. And she goes to open the door, and there's one problem. She forgot the dang key. It's up there on the table, right? And there's something here spiritually as well. I don't mean to get so into the metaphysics of Alice in Wonderland, but there's a powerful life lesson here too, is that just bringing forth the best of ourselves doesn't open the door, nor does just depending on that supernatural support of the divine. They have to go together. This clarity about knowing what you want, this boldness to bring forth the best of who you are, when we bring those things, then the divine can spring into action, and we can find those right opportunities, those incredible relationships that seem to come just at the right time, that book we read in that line that gives us the inspiration we need. It's then that the universe springs into action, and we know just what to do. And Alice looks down, and there's a little piece of cake, and it says, "Eat me." And Jefferson Airplane writes a song about it, right? She says, "Well, I'll eat it, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which happens." And that, to me, is the understanding of enlightenment. When we bring forth the best of ourselves without demanding just what the path is supposed to look like. When we let the divine in to begin articulating and supporting us in the journey. Alice makes it into Wonderland, and before too long, she now wants to get back home. And there's this other mischievous support character named the Cheshire Cat, right? And she encounters the cat, and she's trying to get home. And he says, which way are you going? Where are you trying to get to? And she says, I don't know. And he says, oh, great. Don't worry. Any path will get you there if you don't know where you're going. But we're giving another powerful life spiritual lesson there, that when we do have a sense of who we are and where we want to go, then anywhere will lead us there as well. To have that faith in your own heart, to have that vision, but to not be so attached to it that you can't recognize a mind greater than your own operating on it, allows us to live that life adventure where every lock becomes a key to stepping deeper into ourselves and greater into our livingness. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "We are looking for something secure, something we can put our trust in. The thing we are all seeking is reality. We may call it God, we may call it peace of mind, we may call it the kingdom of heaven, but in the last analysis, it is a search for that alone which is permanent. We all know enough about reality to readily believe that if we could push farther into it, there would be wonderful experiences to enjoy. Everyone has at times felt if they could just do something to break the bonds within themselves, open up some door which appears to be closed, they would step into completion and be instantly perfect. Prepare that pathway to move to a deeper degree of the awareness that there is a divine presence in your heart space, in the center of who you are, in your grandest truth. Unlock the knowledge that there is an infinite, yes, infinite power within you, an infinite amount of possibilities around you. And as you access this divine brilliance that, yes, is yours, but it belongs to everyone, it expresses uniquely through you in an incredible way. Stop locking yourself out of your own inner wonder. Stop locking yourself out from experiencing the divine beauty that is in you. And decide, just even in those little openings, in those little cracks of opportunity, to live from that beauty, that brilliance, that genius within you, and watch as it begins to show up. Watch as it begins to flower and blossom, and watch as the doors that have been closed to you, even if they remain closed, guide you to open ones, guides you into greater degrees of livingness, into greater opportunities to be yourself, into that experience of your divine magnificence. I want to close today with an affirmation. I'm going to put it on the screen. If we're up for it, we can all claim and affirm it together. Although this challenge may reflect where I am, it is not a reflection of who I am. I go within to remember the best of what is within me, knowing it is the very key to moving through any obstacle around me. As I bring the best of myself to life, the divine mind provides the best of its life to support me on my way. Indeed, although there may be challenges, do not allow them to reflect on who you are, but allow them to be the opportunity to reflect what is most meaningful and real within you. And know that as you bring the best of yourself to life, the very key the divine made you with begins to fit in all those places around you that unlock the highest possibilities for your well-being, your thriving, your adventure, your forgiveness, and your fun. So just going into prayer today, I invite you to join me if you so choose. I want to invite any of our practitioner, prayer partners to stand, and remind anyone watching online that we have online practitioners as well, that if you click the link on our watch page on our website, you can be taken to a Zoom room to receive affirmative prayer. So I just speak this word, knowing and affirming that the divine speaks through all experiences. But in particular, I honor how it speaks to our hearts through challenging experiences, through the seeming locked doors, through frustrations or uncertainties, through repetitions of bad habits or habitual living. I simply know that power of the divine to, even through these things, call forth what is best within us, to light that fire in our minds, to call forth the breeze of our hearts, to move us into that greater expression of who we are, that is all our life needs, to hear and to receive that divine message of what is to be and what is to become. So we open doors of healing. We open doors of prosperity. We open doors of an even greater love to share with those we care most for and with those who care most for us. Inner doors, exterior doors, all of those openings. Thank you, God, for all of these opportunities that make me more who I am and allow me to bring my talents to the world. So honoring your talents, honoring your precious uniqueness, may we express it knowing that indeed that being our highest self co-creates with that divine mind a life of grand joy, deep compassion, and enlightened peace. And so it is. Amen.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy.
Thank you for that beautiful prayer, Jennifer. Thank you for being here with us today as we move into this time of offering. I just want to start with great thanks for everyone in this sanctuary today and all the ways that you support Mile High Church. This pandemic has been its own lock in a way for Mile High. What a wonderful opportunity for us to remember what it is that we want as spiritual community, to bring forth the best within ourselves and to know there's a divine power guiding our way. Thank you for being a part of that and for all the ways you choose to give. And for those of you watching online, thank you for financially supporting the center. I was given a list. Dr. Kent helps communicate with our donors, and we were looking at donations that came in this week. We have them from Hemet, California, Gold Canyon, Arizona, Indianapolis, Indiana, Kent, Washington, Highland Ranch, California, Seal Beach, California, hey, Elkhorn, Nebraska, and so on and so forth. Isn't it incredible to know how our community has expanded in so many different ways online? So for those watching at home, thank you, especially even without an offering plate in front of you, to choose to give of your gifts and of your blessings to Mile High Church. We are so grateful. So thank you, everyone, for however you choose to give, whether it be in the basket here, online through the website, texting to give, mailing in a check. We so appreciate you keeping Mile High strong and helping it become even stronger in the months to come. Let us take our gifts physically or metaphorically, and we can say our offering blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
And Josh, I wanted to take a second just before the choir sings their last song for today and thank all of you, Stacy Landis, every single choir member, and Tammy Misey, the accompanist for the choir. Thank you all for the time that you give and for the music that you give. And I want to also acknowledge that this time of COVID has been difficult for all of us, but every choir in the world was shut down initially, and no one was singing. And yet this community stayed together, and you continued to support one another through some very hard times. And I want you to know that we appreciate the support that all of you do give to one another and to all of us, and the love and the music you give to the rest of us. So thank you so much for that. And if you want to continue to support the choir, they will have a Wednesday Night Live coming up. This coming Wednesday will be an all choir music Wednesday. And so please show up and support them. And now please welcome the Mile High Choir.
Finish line is 6 feet in the ground. In a race you can't win, just slow it down. In a world okay, be alive. So let go, make it right. Make it right. We were born to shine. In a world okay, be alive. It's hard to live in comfort in a world full of hate. Be alive.
So grateful for the Mile High Choir and A World Be a Light. And so today, if you are visiting us for the first time, we welcome you with an open heart. And I'd invite you also to go out to our Welcome Center where you can pick up a brochure and you can get to know some folks out there, and just know that we welcome you into the heart of our community. And if you're feeling the call for prayer this morning, our beloved prayer practitioners are coming down front on both sides here, and you can come and receive a spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer from one of them. You can also submit a prayer online, and we're doing a new thing. There's an online prayer room. You can go to our watch page and click the link and join the online prayer room.
Thank you, Zamira. You're an extra busy minister today because you're right after a service here in the community center. You're going to be teaching our new members class, right?
Yes, and I sure hope that if you have been considering membership, that you'll please join me to check it out. And we'll be we'll have some ministers joining us, and Stacy Butters, our youth director, and you can learn about all the programs that we offer here and just feel some ways that you can really step into your sense of belonging here at Mile High Church. So today, right after the service at 11:30, we'll be starting in room D over in the community center, and I hope you'll come and join me there.
Thank you, Zamira. Looking forward to that. So again, classes start this week. Wednesday, we're going to have Best of Choir singing from the stage. So let's make sure there's more people in the crowd than there is on stage on Wednesday here. Looking forward to that. That's at 7 p.m. And then this Friday, 7 p.m., one of my favorite things that we do each year, it's our ecclesiastical graduation, where our incredible practitioner candidates graduate, our ministerial students graduate. Dr. Roger's going to be speaking. It's just a wonderful, uplifting event, and you're invited here Friday at 7 p.m. for that. So with that, please feel free to stand. You know, I know we're still in these pandemic times. Know that if someone isn't holding your hand during the peace song, they don't mean to offend you. We're all just honoring where we are. But let us remember right where we are, that divine love, that divine inspiration, that divine healing is the very foundation of our being. May we walk on it and allow each and every door to be open to us with love and with light. And so it is. Amen.